life. And it's about how I really feel like we need a revolution. We need to re-evolve the way that we live. Our forefathers wrote our Constitution, which is the contract that is our way of life, 229 years ago. And the driving force behind that Constitution was avoiding tyranny, to keep us away from an evil dictator. We built inefficiency into our system. We built a system of separation of powers, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branches, and the separation of the states and the federal governments. And that was really an effective method in 1787. But I think it's really time that we take a breath and say, okay, what's happened in the last 229 years? Where are we? Who are we as a people? Who are we as Americans? Because we're not like any other nation in the world. We're completely different than any other nation in the world. We have people from all over the world. We have every walk of life in our country. And the idea was diversity. Can we live together in peace and prosper? But we're diverse now, and we're divided. We divide ourselves a lot of different ways, by different state laws, by our two-party political system. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Line up, let's fight. I've always been an independent, since I was 18 years old. By race. We started this country believing that people were chattel. And we still have that racial divide today, and we need to get past it. How do we do that? We need a new constitutional convention. It's really what we need. We need representatives from the actual demographics of our country to relook at what's working and what's not working. You know, if this was a business, and I love this forum tonight and all the ideas that we've heard, because it's all about innovation and change and staying relevant. If we were a business and we looked at the things that we're not doing well, all of our national debt, our healthcare crisis, insurance, our racial divide, we would say, well, we've got to innovate, we've got to change, we've got to fix these problems. And if someone raised their hand in the meeting and said, we got that business plan from 229 years ago, we don't need to change. That person would be gone. So we need to apply those same American innovative, competitive, capitalist values to how we live, to how we govern ourselves. So I've got a few ideas about what we can change. You may have some other ideas. I can tell you this much. I mentioned some of my ideas this week to some people, and I was told, oh, you're never going to change anything. That's never going to happen. You're a fascist. Okay. We have freedom of speech. That's America. If we can't have discourse and debate about our way of life, what good is it? Seriously, what good is it? We have to talk about these things. My first idea is that we have 50 different sets of state laws on most of the same issues. I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing law for 20-something years. I've been reading laws my whole life, my whole adult life. We don't need 50 different sets of laws on all the same issues. We can streamline that. We can streamline it. It doesn't mean that I'm a fascist. It doesn't mean I don't love Florida. It doesn't mean we don't love our favorite sports team. It means we've got more important things to do than read and analyze and write a bunch of laws on the same topics. That made sense 229 years ago, when if you wanted to get from Florida to California, you had to get on a horse. You know, now it's a different world. We've got cars, planes, the internet, phones. We are connected to the whole world. And guess what? We're interacting not competing, because we need to change the narrative. We're interacting with countries that don't have 50 internal sets of laws. They have one set of laws to deal with. So our companies have a lot more red tape, a lot more regulation to deal with than these other countries. We don't just want to remain relevant, we want to be a leader. We need to streamline our processes. We need to look at those state laws, and unless there's a truly local interest, we need to streamline them and make them work for us. Another thing that we could do at this constitutional convention is we can find a different way to combat tyranny in 2018 than inefficiency. We can give the power to the people. I'm gonna make it snappy, sorry, snappy. Power to the people, social media, love social, listen, I love pictures of my kids as much as anybody. We can interact with our government. We don't need to have a republic with representative government in that same way that they needed in 1789. In 1789, they couldn't go to 3 million people and say, what do you think about this? But today, we can interact with our government through social media. Pose the question, should citizens be allowed to buy semi-automatic military-style weapons? Get the data, the representatives write the laws based on the will of the people. Thank you.